Most workers who got displaced by automation never knew which categories of work consistently survive until after they needed that information. After 19 episodes covering which jobs are being replaced, the same 4 categories kept appearing in every dataset as the ones automation consistently cannot reach. Today we name them and walk the pivot into each one. This is not a prediction from one economist. MIT researcher Darren Akamoglu, McKinsey Global Institute, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics have all converged on the same framework independently. The 4 categories of work that survive are not random. They share a structural reason why automation cannot replace them. Over 19 episodes, we covered the occupations most exposed to automation. Travel agents and truck drivers were early episodes. Cashiers and radiologists followed. In each episode, the question was the same. What is the automation exposure, and what does the pivot path look like?
Lewis here. We cover 4 categories: physical trade work, complex judgment work, novel creative work, and human-relational work. Each comes with named occupations and BLS growth data. We also walk the practical pivot path, including which credentials matter and where to start.
The categories are not theoretical. We are going to name specific jobs, cite specific BLS growth projections, and walk the specific apprenticeship and certification paths that lead into each category. By the end of this episode, you should know exactly which of the 4 categories your current work is closest to.
Imagine a factory floor worker who cross-trained as an industrial electrician over 2 years while the automation investment in their plant was still in the planning phase. By the time the robots arrived, that worker had a state license and a protected lane. That is the outcome this episode is designed to enable.
Arjun here. Physical trade work survives because it requires unstructured physical dexterity combined with on-site judgment that changes with every job. A robot that can tighten a bolt on a factory floor cannot wire a residential panel in an attic with irregular framing and a customer asking questions from 2 feet away. The physical environment is different every time, and the technology cannot keep up.
Electricians are the clearest data point. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects 11% job growth for electricians through 2032, faster than average, driven by grid modernization and the electric vehicle charging infrastructure build-out. The demand is structural, and it is measured in decades.
Nova here. HVAC technicians, plumbers, and welders carry the same protection profile. All 3 are licensed at the state level. All 3 require physical work in variable environments, and all 3 combine manual dexterity with diagnostic judgment that changes every service call. The licensing layer adds legal protection on top of the physical one.
CISSP, lineman, and utility worker are worth calling out separately. Chemina says, the National Electric Grid Modernization and Expansion is a multi-decade federal infrastructure program. Working on live high-voltage equipment in the field is one of the last categories where no commercially available automation has shown an ability to substitute for human workers.
Arjun covered the demand side. The supply-side entry path is the federally registered apprenticeship. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the United Association for Plumbers and Pipefitters, and the American Welding Society all run paid apprenticeship programs where you earn while you learn, and the credential is nationally recognized. The structural reason automation cannot close this gap is worth being clear about. These jobs require physical presence in uncontrolled environments, real-time judgment based on what the worker sees and hears on site, and state licensing that was designed to require a human being to hold the credential and be present for liability. That combination is why the physical trade category appears consistently across every major forecast. Complex judgment work survives because the value is not in the information retrieval or the analysis. It is in the contextual judgment applied to a specific person in a specific situation with accountability attached. I can surface the data, but the professional judgment on what to do with it for this patient or this client or this structure carries liability that requires a human.
Nurse practitioners and physician assistants are the sharpest BLS data point in this category. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects over 45% growth for both occupations through 2032. Clinical judgment combined with patient relationship and accountability for outcomes is the work that AI augments without replacing.
Engineering specialization follows the same augmentation pattern. An AI system can run structural analysis faster than any human engineer, but the licensed professional engineer who signs off on the design holds the legal accountability and exercises the judgment on when the analysis is good enough. The sign-off and the accountability are the job.
Novel. Creative work adds a different survival reason. Founders making strategic bets in a new market, researchers forming original hypotheses, and brand strategists building competitive positioning all work in environments where the correct answer is genuinely unknown, and the value is in the quality of the judgment under ambiguity.
Nova's augmentation point is the most important thing to understand about this category. The workers who are thriving in complex judgment roles are not the ones ignoring AI. They are the ones using AI to do in 2 hours what used to take 2 days, and then spending the time they saved on the judgment layer that AI cannot replace.
Litigation law is worth a specific mention, and it connects to what Nova said about sign-off. Document review and contract analysis are being automated rapidly, but reading a jury and making judgment calls on courtroom dynamics in real time are capabilities litigation lawyers develop over years of practice. No commercially available AI system can replicate what happens in a live trial.
Human-relational work survives because the value is in the trusted relationship itself. A patient who trusts their nurse practitioner follows treatment recommendations at a higher rate. A student who trusts their teacher engages with material at a different depth. The trust and the relationship are not separable from the professional service and cannot be relocated into a software interface.
Teachers and educators belong in this category because their core work is not information delivery. It is diagnosing what this individual learner needs right now and building the relationship and motivation that makes learning possible. AI tutoring tools supplement that work. They do not replicate the diagnosis or the relationship.
Mental health counselors and therapists are the strongest data point here. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects 18% growth for mental health and substance abuse counselors through 2032. The Therapeutic Alliance, the process of building a relationship with a client over months and years of trust, is the treatment mechanism. It has no automation pathway.
Social workers and case managers belong in this category for a different reason. Advocating for a client in family court, navigating a public benefit system on behalf of someone who does not know the system, and coordinating across multiple agencies for a single family's housing and medical needs requires human presence and human accountability at every step.
What Erica identified across the series is the thread that connects all 4 categories. Each one depends on physical presence, contextual judgment, or trusted relationship in a way that requires a human being to be accountable for the outcome. DS1. That accountability requirement is the structural reason these categories survive.
Nurse educators and case managers are 2 roles worth watching specifically. They sit at the intersection of human, relational, and complex judgment work, and are among the fastest-growing occupations in the BLS dataset. They combine clinical credential requirements with the relationship and advocacy capabilities that automation consistently cannot replace.
Every viewer watching this episode should ask 2 questions before the week is out. First, which of the 4 survivor categories does my current work fall into? Or which one could I move toward with a realistic retraining path? Second, what is the one concrete move I can make this quarter to begin that shift?
The free tools available for this are better than most people realize. Career One Stop at carawinastop.org and 1-877-872-5627 connects you with state-licensed career counselors at no cost. The Department of Labor's apprenticeship.gov lists every federally registered apprenticeship. The Trade Adjustment Assistance Program provides retraining funds for workers displaced by automation. Lewis and Nova laid out the 4 categories. Now run the audit on your current job. Does it require physical presence in an unstructured environment, or complex judgment with accountability attached? If either answer is yes, you are already closer to a survivor category than most people realize.
Tememin Eva. The pivot does not require starting over. One credential that formalizes the judgment you already exercise, one cross-training request that documents a skill your employer already uses you for, or one conversation with your manager about which roles are growing in your organization are the moves that create options before the market forces the question.
Nova's point about the free tools is the most underused part of this. Most of the workers we covered across 19 episodes had access to free retraining through Career One Stop or TAA, or a state grant they never applied for. The window is still open in most survivor categories because displacement happens over years, not overnight.
Tamina. If you forget everything else in this video, remember this. TS. The 4 survivor categories are not going away and they are growing. TE. The workers who survive automation are not the ones who never faced it. D. They are the ones who understood which category to build toward and started building before the announcement came.
Today we covered the 4 categories that consistently survive every automation wave across all 20 episodes in this series. We walked the BLS growth data for each category and the structural reason it survives. We covered the physical trade apprenticeship paths and the complex judgment credential routes. And we walked the free retraining tools, including Career One Stop and the DOL program. 3 years from now, you will thank yourself for running the category audit today and making the one pivot move this quarter while the window was still open. The workers who thrive through automation are not the ones who avoided it. They are the ones who understood which category they were building toward and started building before the announcement. That is the end of the AI Replacing Jobs series. Watch the playlist from the beginning to see the one pattern that connects every displaced worker we covered, and why most workers in each episode had a pivot option they had not considered. Every episode ends with a concrete move you can start today.
Subscribe so you do not miss the next series. And if you know someone who is weighing their career options right now, share this episode and the full playlist with them.
Don't forget to like.
I am Professor Erica, signing off. The window is open. Use it.